Hello everybody and welcome back to a new Space Engineers video. So today's video I'm going to be taking you through how I would go about building a mining vessel. So it's a new idea I had for a series where I want to kind of build some ships from scratch on video, the full thing, so you can see about how I go through the process, and also I can give you some tips and tricks on how to go about building them. I'm going to start this video by saying that I don't build completely for functionality. I build quite a lot for aesthetics as well. I believe that a big part of the game is engineering something that looks good as well as working well. So it's nice to find that balance. I think when you're building. Also, I'll start off by saying if you're building, please get the paint gun mod. It makes everything so much easier. Painting blocks behind certain other blocks. And also, like, replacing colours, for example, is a feature that the paint gun has. It's something that's going to save you a lot of time. And then also on top of that, you can get build vision and build info. So build info will help you with air leaks if you're trying to pressurize a ship, and build vision will let you do this, where you can basically access the control panel of a block without having to go through this, which it doesn't seem necessary for a ship of this size, but when you're working on larger vessels and you've got loads of interior lights, or you've got loads of wheels on a rover, it makes a world of difference. So we're going to be building a space miner today that's hydrogen powered. So the thing to consider when you're building that a lot of new players don't consider is lining up a lot of the ports that are already on a block. So this is the basic cockpit, it's the industrial cockpit, and on the back you've got two small ports. You've got a small port on the front and you've also got one large port on the back. However, this lines up perfectly with the ports on the O2H2 generator, which is something which is going to allow you to generate fuel, so you can put ice straight into it and generate hydrogen from that. Then that has a large connector on the back which hooks up perfectly into a medium cargo container, and then from there you can put on a connector which also has the large the large conveyor port on the back. Sorry, stuttered there. But what I'm actually going to do is quickly just stick on a little frame here, just to space them out a little bit. This is going to give us a little bit more room to work with. It's not something you have to do, but it's something that I'm going to do personally. So when you're building a mining ship, there's a couple things to consider. The first thing is the propulsion type, and also where the connector is. So a lot of mining ships have the connector on the bottom. This makes it a lot easier because you can just dock straight to like a landing pad, you can land on it, etc. But also a lot of stations have connector ports which dock horizontally like this. So really it's down to how your base is set up and your preference. Typically speaking, it's easier to do it this way, but there might be some circumstances where it's easier to put it on the bottom or even the top to connect your miner. You could put one here. The reason I don't put a connector here is because when you dock to a landing pad, say the landing pad is a 3x3 like that, the whole back of the ship is going to be hanging off the landing pad. So I like to have the ventral connector either centered or have a rear connector, which will always be centered unless you're building like an asymmetrical ship, for example. So here we have the basics. We have a cockpit, an O2 generator, we have storage for the ore, we have a conveyor frame, and we also have a connector which can serve as storage as well. It's got about a third of the volume as the medium cargo container. And another thing to consider is the drills also have storage as well. So yeah, on top of that, the more storage you have, the heavier your ship is going to get, and then this is going to be a factor in momentum, especially with a mining vessel. If it's full of ore and you're swinging the ship about, it's going to have a whole lot of momentum. So if you just clip the side of your base or maybe a connector docking arm, you're probably going to cause a lot of damage. So I think the best way to go about it is to have a light/medium mining ship, which you can control well at those higher speeds, and I just typically find that to be a lot more effective. So what we're going to do next is we want some storage for the hydrogen fuel, obviously. So we're going to set up our symmetry here by pressing M, clicking, and then pressing N. So that basically sets the symmetry down the middle of the grid. There's a whole shenanigan going on with symmetry, but I assume if you're watching this video you at least understand how symmetry works, and how you can use it to make building times a bit quicker. So we're going to put a hydrogen tank here, and we're going to put a hydrogen tank here. So that's 4 hydrogen tanks plus the O2 generator. For space travel, I would consider that more than enough. Some people might want less, some people might want more. So we're also going to put conveyor tubes here, just to space the drills out a little bit from the cockpit itself, and then we're going to slap the drills on there. So the drills are a good distance from the cockpit, so you can mine through an asteroid, but also they're not too far ahead as where they're like sticking out a whole bunch. So that's a good distance, and the drills have the same storage as the medium cargo container, so you've basically got 3 medium cargo containers on this thing, so that's going to be more than enough for most players' survival needs. So on the back here we want some thrust. I'm going to use a small conveyor junction, and then I'm going to use some conveyor corners here, just to give us a little bit more to work with. I think you can see where this is going. Obviously it's a hydrogen powered vessel, so we're going to throw some hydrogen thrusters on it. We're going to have 4, just so when you're done mining you can, you know, give the ship a kick and you can really get out there a whole lot quicker than if you just had, you know, 1 or 2. So then we're also going to have a look at the side thrust. Now this is something that I like to keep quite good. Thrust in general on miners is something you really need to not overlook, because you need to be able to control the ship, especially when it's getting heavier. Hydrogen is the most powerful thruster, so it is a good idea to have the hydrogen thruster. So we're going to have 2 either side, just like that. And we might also change this out for a junction block here, if I can find it. Bam. So we're going to have a junction block there, and we have a junction block there, and that is so we can have our up and down thrust. So I'm going to pop it here, and I'm going to pop it there. So we've got forwards, side to side, we've got up and down, so now all we need is the reversing thrust. Now, you could put 1 here, but I don't think 1's enough. I want at least 2 on this thing. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to branch off from here, or we could actually put it here. That might be a better spot. But I want to extend it a little bit. I don't want it that far back. So I'm going to use the new conveyor pipes here, actually, just because I kind of feel like using them. I'm going to pipe through a couple of hydrogen thrusters just in front of the, just behind, sorry, the drills there. So that will slow us down. We have thrust in every direction now, so we can start thinking about the other subsystems on the ship. So I'm going to put 2 gyros on this thing. You could probably get away with 1 gyro, but typically when I have a mining ship like this, I will have 1 gyro active all the time and one gyro disabled. Once it's full of ore, you can activate the other gyro to sort of bring back some of that stability to the craft and a bit of maneuverability if you need to get out of a tricky spot, etc. So that's what we're going to do there. The next thing we're going to look at is power. So I'm going to have a battery powered mining ship. So hydrogen plus battery power is the cheapest form of getting about. It's the most efficient way of getting about. Well, maybe not the most efficient, but it's the easiest way to get set up. So we're going to have 4 batteries there. Hydrogen powered vessels don't use a lot of fuel, so that's not something you need to worry about. Now the next thing would be an antenna. So obviously we want to be able to find the ship. You could use a beacon, but I'm going to use an antenna personally because we're also going to couple it with an ore detector so that we can find ores more easily. And I'm going to build myself a little array up top. So we're going to put the antenna there. I'm going to grab the ore detector as well. We're going to have that sticking up, and then we're going to have a blast door because it kind of looks pretty on the front there. And we're also going to lead that into a spotlight as well. So a spotlight is a great addition for when you're mining. You know, you're going through those caves, you're in a dark asteroid, you want to scout out and see what sort of ores are about. A spotlight is a great option for that. So the next thing we want to do is we want to give it some bodywork. Now, a lot of survival ships don't have much in terms of bodywork, and the thing with mining ships is you're going to be bumping it, you're going to be scraping it a lot because you're going through these tight asteroids. You know, you're maneuvering around, and it's quite a heavy vessel. So if you bump into something, chances are you're going to break it. So you want to have an element of protection in there, not just you know, for the things that you're hitting, but also you've got hydrogen tanks here, and they tend to make a bit of a bang when they explode, to say the least. So that's what we're going to do there, and we're also going to add a little bit of the thruster cowling here, if I can place the block right, just to protect these thrusters because they are quite valuable components, and we don't want them sticking out too much in case they get hit and obviously get banged up a little bit. We're also going to put an armor panel on here just because it kind of looks nice, and it just gives it that little bit extra greeble. I know Omega would be very, very pleased with that. So we're going to put on some extra armor panels there just to protect our thrusters. So we've got good protection here around our hydrogen tanks. We maybe want something around this area. You could do armor panels, you could do some regular blocks, it's really up to you. I'm going to have a little bit of a look here and see what I'm thinking of doing. I'm probably going to do something along the lines of this. A beam block would be perfect there actually, but I think a regular block will do as well. So I'm just going to push out the sides a little bit there, just to protect those hydrogen tanks. And also it sort of acts like bumpers, right? You could put heavy armor there. In fact, I might throw on heavy armor panels on top of that as well, so that if these sides are hit, they've got that little extra bit of protection there, just against, you know, asteroids and things like that. So another thing I like to do is use piston heads to cover up conveyor ports. Now conveyor ports stick out to me, you know, these big yellow grates that are sticking out. So I'm going to go ahead and cover those up just with some of these top piston parts here. I don't know if I want to do it at the back. We might actually do something else there, but I'll have to have a little bit of a think about that. We're definitely going to put it here at the front. Oh no, I've got a better idea for the front. We'll do like a little bit of a bumper here as well to protect the ship. Now this isn't as relevant as the bumpers on the side. However, sometimes you do get like floating rocks when you're mining, especially if you're mining with the hand drill. So, you know, it's just something that could come in handy. You know, if it does save you at least once, it's only a couple steel plates, right? So I do think it would be worth it. And then we're going to cover up that horrible conveyor port there, just with like a little chin on the mining ship. I'm going to add some landing gear here as well, just to make it easier to clamp down to stations and such. Just something simple like that will do. In fact, we could actually bring that down by one block, which I might do here real quick. So if we do something like this, and then I might even do rounded at the front, get those magnetic plates that we got with the heavy industry update, and just make some rudimentary landing gear there. I know the thruster's going to hit it, but those plates do stick out just a little bit further, so you know that should work itself out hopefully, and it covers up that dreadful conveyor port at the front there. So I mean, there you go. That is pretty much a mining ship right there. It's got all the gubbins you need. What I'm going to do real quick actually is just tidy the top of this up a little bit here. I'm just going to add some protection around the ore detector there. And there you go. There you have a basic little mining ship. So you can whiz about in this. It's quite nimble actually. It's got all the axis of thrust, up, down, left, right, backwards, forwards. It's got 2 drills on the front, medium content, it's got an O2 generator, 4 hydrogen tanks, it's got landing gear. This will do whatever you need it to do in the early game, you know, just to get some basic ores, scavenging from the top of the asteroids, pretty much what we're like what we're doing in the survival series at the moment. Shameless plug. I just wonder if that would look better. Or maybe if we did that instead. And then if we got the armor panels as well. Let's have a look at that. I think that makes quite a cute little thrust pack actually. And then obviously this bit is sticking out to me as well, so I might just throw a little bit of armor on there. I don't want to highlight the thrusters too much, but they do stick out quite a bit. I wonder if we can do something about that. Maybe we can we can encase them a little bit here. I don't know how well this is going to work. It's just something I'm going to try. I actually feel like that works to an extent. Obviously it doesn't have to be the prettiest thing in the world, like that's SE survival, but I want it to at least not be an eyesore for me when I have to play through survival. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's a basic miner. So the final part that I like to do is I like to give it a little coat of paint. Right, paint makes all the difference in the world. So we're going to go with a yellow. I feel like yellow is quite an industrial colour. I'm literally just going to paint the whole thing yellow. And then we're going to go through repainting it a little bit. So I like to do sort of the vanilla-esque Aragath style. So typically I'll paint components grey. So like the drills, the thrusters, etc. I'll paint these grey. And the main body of the craft is obviously yellow. We're going to just paint over everything that has a function here real quick and then just see how that looks. So get these piston heads. Sometimes it can be a bit finicky to get to them. Get those tanks. Get the conveyors as well. Are we going to be able to get that tank? Oh, we were looking at it. I just didn't realise. Get that gyro as well. Get all this stuff on top. Obviously, these are all components too, and then get that done as well. I'm going to give it a splash of white. Give it a nice white stripe. Put that there like that, coming up the top. And we might as well, should we just do something like that? Just a couple white stripes on the back. Don't want to go overboard with the white, you see. And then I might just do a little something like that there. Just to give it a little splash of colour. Probably ought to use a little bit more white as well, actually. That might be too much white. That might be too much white. I feel like we haven't got enough white though. Maybe we do. I'm actually going to get rid of this block here, and I'm going to make it curve in a little bit, just like that. Yeah, I feel like that just adds a little bit more to the shape of the craft. Okay, cool. I'm going to paint these grey as well, and I might paint the actual quote-unquote landing gear grey too, like that. Just to... Oh, I just think it looks nice, honestly. So yeah, there's the basic mining ship. These should be grey. Sometimes I do like to make the conveyor pipes yellow or orange. I mean, that's just something you can mess about with. But in general, there you have it, a basic mining ship. Now, if you want to be, you know, a little bit more complex, you want to add some things to the ship. One thing I would consider adding to a mining vessel is a conveyor sorter ejector. So basically it ejects typically stone, but that's only if you're mining for specific ores. Obviously back before stone had a purpose, a lot of people would eject it, but now that it has a purpose, people don't tend to drop the stone. But if you want to drop the stone, I'll show you how to do that. So we'll make a copy of this real quick, pop it over here, grab a sorter, so the small sorter, and then we're going to grab an ejector as well, like that. Then you go into the control panel, get the sorters, you want to click drain all, whitelist, and you want to find stone. There you go. So it will drain only stone, and then you set the ejectors to collect all throughout, and then any stone that enters the system will be ejected. So if we just stick some stone in here real quick, so I'm going to stick 100 in there, and that'll be pooped out. Did it all in one blob, but there you go. You get what I mean. You eject the stone via that method. So yeah, there's the basic mining ship. Obviously, you know, you need to set up the control panel, etc. But this will serve you very well in your endeavours, just to, you know, scavenge ores off asteroids and complete your basic tasks in a space environment. If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what ship you'd like to see me cover next. And as always, take care, everybody.